Welcome, folks, to Gilligan's Island.
Are here on Gilligan's Island.
It's the only deserted island extravaganza with more palm trees than Baywatch, more coconut-based mishaps than Survivor, and more likable characters than Lost.
Nothing doing. No one would pay any attention to the flog.
You'll find yourself in good company as you're stranded in the middle of nowhere with a cast of characters that range from a witty farm girl to a wacky millionaire.
What am I?
A girl.
Gilligan's Island is like a tropical time capsule buried in the sands of pop culture for decades. It's a show that's so iconic, it's been referenced more times than The Simpsons and has more staying power than Keith Richards.
Come on, baby. Surrender to Ginger.
I'd give up.
With a brief run from 1964 to 1967, it makes you wonder where the show's eccentric stars found themselves after being rescued. Bob Denver, the man, the myth, the Gilligan.
Believe me, Gilligan, there is no way out of here for you.
That's what you think. You didn't see the picture.
Bob started in showbiz as a radio DJ, but it wasn't long before he made the leap to TV. His big break came from the classics 60s sitcom The Many Loves of Dobie Gillis, where he played the lovable beatnik Maynard GKrebs. Bob's portrayal of Maynard was so spot on that it earned him a legion of fans, including one John Lennon, who famously wrote a fan letter to Bob in the 60s. But by the time he was 29, Bob's role as the goofball first mate on Gilligan's Island really catapulted him to fame. Bob brought a childhood innocence and charm to the show as Gilligan, endearing him to audiences everywhere. Despite the show's popularity, Bob had a bit of a rough go in his personal life. He endured a string of failed marriages and battled substance abuse, which he later attributed to the stress of fame. But he never lost his sense of humor, and he continued to work steadily in TV and film throughout the 70s and 80s, and his net worth was around $20 million.
Professor, I just have one more question.
In the twilight of his life, he would move on to Princeton and work as a radio host alongside his wife. Sadly, Bob passed away in 2005 at the age of 70, but his legacy lives on, both in reruns of Gilligan's Island and in the hearts of his fans. And who knows, maybe he's up there on that big island in the sky, hanging out with Alan and the rest of the gang, still trying to figure out how to fix that damn boat. It was very well known that he also formed a tight bond with his classmate, Alan Hale Jr., whom he remained close with. Alan Hale, if you remember, plays the affable skipper. But Hale was more than just a TV icon. He was a man of many talents, a true Hollywood legend, and definitely the biggest star on the show.
Morning, Mr. and Mrs. Howe. Beautiful day, isn't it?
It's ideal flying weather.
Hale Jr. was born into a showbiz family, with his father a prominent actor and his mother a silent film star. No wonder he made such a superb actor. It was in his blood. Before he landed the role of Skipper, Hale Jr. appeared in many TV shows and movies, including The West Point Story and Biff Baker USA. By the time he was 43, it was his turn to play the lovable but perpetually frustrated captain of the SS Minnow, and it became one of the reasons he was a household name. He would also, on occasion, look straight into the camera, and this became a staple of comedy that would later appear in the likes of The Office and Parks and Recreation.
Hear that, Gilligan? One of us might be able to fly to Hawaii. Isn't that great news?
When he wasn't revolutionizing storytelling, Hale Jr. was a devoted family man with a wife and 4 children. He was also a bit of a history buff and would often delight his castmates with tales of his ancestors who had sailed on the high seas. Did you know Hale Jr. actually owned a restaurant in Los Angeles called the Lobster Barrel? It would be funny if he wore his skipper hat to work. He had amassed a small fortune by that point with a net worth of $6 million. After the stint on Gilligan's Island, he would take a break from acting only on television shows such as Alf and Simon & Simon in his iconic skipper attire. Sadly, Hale Jr. passed away in 1990 at the age of 68. But his legacy lives on, not only through his iconic role as the skipper, but through his kindness, humor, and enduring love for the sea. But if there's someone who could rival the Hollywood prowess of Alan Hale, it was Natalie Schaefer. She was a true pop culture icon, with a career that spanned several decades and more memorable moments than a Seinfeld episode. Born on November 5, 1900, in Red Bank, New Jersey, Natalie initially dreamed of becoming a Broadway star, but after a stint in vaudeville and a few minor film roles, she found her niche as a character actress, and boy, did she make an impression. In the 1940s, Natalie appeared in several films, including The Woman and No Time for Love, but her role as Eunice Wentworth in the classic sitcom The Beverly Hillbillies made her a household name. Of course, her most iconic role was as Mrs. Howe on Gilligan's Island. Even at 64, Natalie brought a touch of glamour to the show with her signature furs and pearls, and her hilarious bickering with her on-screen husband, Thurston Howell III.
Do you know this is the first time a man has asked me what I want?
But what was Natalie like in real life? Rumor has it that she was quite the firecracker and fiercely independent. She was married to Louis Calhern from 1933 to 1942. However, she didn't have any children. But here is something far more interesting. Natalie Schaefer was also a real-life millionaire. So when she was prancing around all entitled on Gilligan's Island, she was probably method acting. The star had a net worth of $10 million. Following her performance on the show, the actress appeared as a guest star on numerous television programs such as Mayberry RFD, The Brady Bunch, and Phyllis. Additionally, she had a recurring role on the CBS soap opera Search for Tomorrow. Sadly, Natalie passed away in 1991 at the age of 90, but her legacy lives on through her memorable performances and her impact on Hollywood. But while all these actors left their mark on the acting industry, there is still one that is still etching her name on the walls of Hollywood stardom. And that is the sultry and sassy Tina Louise. Born in 1934 in New York City, Tina got her start on the stage before making her way to Hollywood. She quickly made a name for herself with roles in films like God's Little Acre and The Trap. But her turn as the iconic Ginger Grant on Gilligan's Island cemented her status as a pop culture icon.
Me, Ginger.
At 29, Tina brought a bombshell hotter than a jalapeno pepper to the otherwise wholesome sitcom. Her on-screen chemistry with the rest of the cast, particularly with Gilligan, was electric. But Tina's career didn't end with Gilligan's Island. She went on to appear in a slew of films and TV shows, including The Stepford Wives and Dallas. She even earned a Tony nomination for her performance in the Broadway play The Fifth Season. Off-screen, Tina's personal life was just as intriguing. She was married 4 times and had 1 daughter, Caprice Crane, who became a successful author. By any stretch of the imagination, she has had a very prolific career, and her net worth is about $6 million.
If Ginger Grant is a movie star, and I'm playing her, then shouldn't her makeup be perfect?
Did you know that Tina was initially offered the role of Morticia Addams on The Addams Family? Unfortunately, she turned it down, thinking that the show wouldn't be successful. Whoops! Boy, was she wrong. As for her relationship with the cast of Gilligan's Island, let's just say things were a bit rocky. Tina reportedly didn't get along with some of her co-stars, particularly Don Wells and Bob Denver. But despite the drama, the cast remained close-knit over the years, with Tina even appearing at reunion events and conventions. So, what's Tina up to these days? Well, the 89-year-old is still acting, with a few projects in the works. At present, she is engaged in the field of entertainment and is involved in the production of a movie called Tapestry by Ken Kushner. As a part of this project, she is working with Stephen Baldwin and Burt Young, so you can bet she's still a heavy hitter. But she's also become a recluse, preferring to keep a low profile and enjoy her privacy. And who can blame her? After a career as long and varied as hers, she's earned the right to take it easy. When the show first premiered in 1964, it was unlike anything audiences had ever seen. Its wacky premise, colorful characters, and zany humor set it apart from more traditional family sitcoms at that time.
Why don't you both take it to him? It would look so natural. I mean, 2 girls taking a stroll.
But Gilligan's Island did more than just break the mold. It paved the way for future sitcoms to take risks and push the boundaries of what was considered acceptable on television. And let's remember the cast themselves. Bob Denver, Don Wells, Tina Louise, and the rest of the gang brought their characters to life with such energy and humor that they became beloved by fans worldwide. Even after the show ended, the cast remained a tight-knit group, attending reunions and conventions and continuing to bring joy to their fans. But the legacy of Gilligan's Island goes beyond just the show itself. Its catchy theme song, memorable catchphrases, and iconic moments have become part of pop culture lore, referenced and parodied in countless TV shows and movies. So if you ever find yourself in need of a good laugh, you can bet that Gilligan's Island will put a smile on your face.